So, hello everyone, welcome to today's webinar. I am Sri Lakshmi from Catalyst team, and we are really excited to have you all with us today. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. So, in this webinar, you will see our partner how has built a production grade fintech focused solutions that automates bulk approvals, travel bill mapping, expense and ticket management, and also featuring our own event based Catalyst signals. So let me now introduce our speakers. Um, so we have with us today Sunil, designated partner at HLBG Bengaluru LLP. And Sunil is an ERP implementation expert with over 15 years of experience, spanning finance, taxation, internal controls, and audits. And we're also joined by Swati from Sunil's team, a full stack developer who will be supporting today's session. Welcome to the webinar, Sunil and Swati. We're very glad to have you with
Thank
us. And HLB Bengaluru was established in 2021 and it is based out of Bengaluru. They are premium Zoho partners with expertise across Zoho Finance Suite, HRMS Suite, Sales and Marketing Suite, BI Suite, and Developer Platform. They have successfully delivered 300 plus implementations and worked with 120 plus customers across Middle East, US, UK, Africa, etc. So that is about our partners. And before we dive in, just a few quick notes. This session is being recorded, and the recording link will be shared with you all after the webinar. And if you have any questions during the presentation, you can feel free to drop them in the chat box. And we will have a dedicated Q&A session, and we will address them all at the end. So with that, I will now hand it over to Sunil, who will walk us through today's session. Over to you, Sunil.
Thank you, Sri Lakshmi, for the kind intro. Happy evening and happy morning to all of you, based on depending on which regions of the world you are attending from. Thank you so much for taking time and joining this webinar. So today we'll be talking about how a feature in Zoho Catalyst, that is signals, can be leveraged along with the Zoho Finance suite of applications and solve some business problems here. So to give a brief about signals, it is an event management, management and configuration tool, wherein any event is happening in another application, it will get triggered to signal, and we can process that, format that, and based on our custom business workflows, either we will be able to send the response back to the original application or any third-party application. So this suite of Zoho signal has been recently introduced in Catalyst by Zoho. So let us take a couple of industry examples and see how this feature can be helpful to solve some business problems. Today we'll be taking you through two business use cases. One is from Zoho Books and another is from Zoho Expense. To start with the first one, this particular organization were using Zoho Books, and they had operation across India with multiple branches and multiple locations, wherein around 50 plus Zoho Books users used to record entries, that is predominantly vendor bills, inside Zoho Books, and there were 20 plus approvers who used to follow multi-level approval criteria, and they used to approve the bills. So here, the particular business use case which we're trying to achieve was, in their type of business, they would like to start counting the credit period for the vendors the day when the bill is finally approved by final leg of approver in the approval workflow. And from that date, they used to calculate the number of days as per their credit periods and arrive at their custom due date, and they used to make the payment on or before that date. So that's how they would like to manage their cash flow. So the problem statement which we faced while configuring this was, since there were multiple approvers, they used to export the bills which came to their approver, and they used to do some calculations in the Excel, put pivot and summarize that and see whether all these bills are okay to approve or not. And instead of doing one by one bill approval inside Zoho Books, they prefer to do approvals in bulk, say 50 or 100 or 125 or 200 lots. So thereby that used to save a lot of time for them rather than going to approve one by one the bills. But as we know, Zoho Books limits 100 API requests per minute per organization, and also Zoho Books allows 10 concurrent calls under paid plans. Though these are soft limits, while executing a custom function inside Zoho Books, these limitations were becoming bottlenecks, and the custom function sometimes was not successfully able to update the approved date back to the bills. So this was the problem statement which we faced. And how did we solve this problem using Zoho Catalyst? With the help of signals. So there are three major components in configuring the signals inside Catalyst. That is, decide a publisher, put a rule, write a function, and respond to the target, which is it could be your original source or any third-party source as well. So here we configured Zoho Books as a publisher inside signals, and we put a condition that take only those bills which are having a status of approved those, and we wrote a function to pick the last approved date from the JSON response which we received from the Zoho Books, and we hit the bill update API of Zoho Books and sent that updated approved data to the custom field which we created in the bills model. And we also captured the response received from Zoho Books after update, because of some validation errors, some of the update API calls might fail, and Zoho Books also give a response message telling that why it got failed. So it is very important for the finance team to know which one got successfully updated with the approved date and which one failed and what is the reason. So we did a cron job, and every day morning 9 o'clock, last 24 hours, which all the bills which failed to update the approved bill data, and we used to send them along with the reasons, so that they used to go back, verify what is the validation error happened, go and rectify those bills, so that this whole cycle can again run automatically, and all those bills will get updated with the approved date. This is the solution which we try to design in Catalyst by Zoho using signal features. So by virtue of doing this, what is the outcome which we could witness? The whole setup was quick, and it was scalable along with the growing business needs. The bills kept on increasing. Why? Because they kept on having more and more branches, more and more locations, and more users, more and more approvers. Thereby, any volume, the same setup which we did was scalable, and we could successfully overcome the limitations of Zoho Books APIs, and the rate at which the native custom function in Zoho Books, with what efficiency it could update, we could drastically increase our, the success rate was almost 99.5% was the success rate, wherein we could successfully update every bill in Zoho Books. Whatever we could not, we used to tell to the finance team that this is the reason because of which we could not. So they could clearly see what is the reason for non-updation, go and rectify that, so that eventually they could successfully have their approved bill date along with every bill. So by virtue of this, they could exactly arrive at by what date I should pay to respective vendors, so that their account payment or accounts payable process got improved, which resulted in their improved cash flow. So let us see this whole setup, how exactly it was achieved using signal feature of Catalyst by Zoho alongside with Zoho Books. This is the Zoho Books organization, wherein under bills model of Zoho Books, we configured a custom field by name a bill approved date. This is the field wherein from Catalyst, once the function is processed, the approved date, the final approved date of the bill will get captured. So this is the first step. The second step is configuring the signals inside Zoho Catalyst console. So Zoho Catalyst offer a lot of services. In that, signal is one of them. So once you go to signal dashboard, you will see various sub-functions, that is dashboard, rules, publishers, webhooks, and logs. Our first step is to configure the publisher. Publisher means from which source the signal is getting originated. It means from where the trigger is getting triggered. There are three types of trigger which is available in Catalyst. One is Zoho publishers, other one is Catalyst publishers, and third one is, if you don't find any of your publisher in these two buckets, third one is build your own publisher. In Zoho publisher, we have around 12 to 15 predefined publisher. Few of them which belongs to Zoho Finance Suites are our Zoho Invoice, Zoho Books, Zoho Inventory, Zoho Expense. Along with there are a few more native Zoho applications. And under Catalyst publishers, these are the services of Catalyst, that is status, data store, file store. These also can be used as a publisher, and signals can be triggered from these services as well. Also, there is an option for us to kind of configure our own publisher if the application which you are going to build is not there in either of this list. So for our use case, we'll pick Zoho Books as a publisher. It is very, very easy to configure. Just choose Zoho Books as your publisher, give a name so that it will help us to refer it in the future in the workflows. So automatically Zoho will recommend the API name. If you want, we can change that also. And the important step is connecting the corresponding Zoho Books with which we want to configure that as a publisher. Currently, our Zoho Books is already configured. That's why it is just telling publisher is already added. In your use case, wherever you are admin of Zoho Books, all the list of Zoho Books will be appearing in this dropdown. You can pick and choose the appropriate Zoho Books organization which will act as a publisher for this solution. Optionally, description can be given, what this publisher is about and what is that we're going to achieve from it. It's not mandatory, it's optional. Then there is one more configuration called event ordering. If we enable this feature, so the signals which are received in a chronological order, Catalyst will process them in the same order in which it is received. If any of the signals fail to execute, the iteration will not stop. It will skip and keep it aside in the loop and pick the next sequence signal which is come. Thereby, the failure rate of your entire transaction which is hitting to the signal is almost close to zero. So this is about that. So we'll keep it on for our use case and we'll save it. So this is the first step wherein in Signal we need to configure the publisher. The second step is to write a function which will help us in reading the JSON file which is coming from Zoho Books and picking that exact final approved date for the respective bill and sending it back to Zoho Books by hitting the API of bill update. So we can use multiple languages to write that function, including Dell use Python, Java, Node.js. We wrote that using Python. This function will read the JSON which is coming from Zoho Books and pick the final upload date and send it back that final upload date to our custom field in bills model of Zoho Books via Zoho Books bill update API. Once this function is ready, the next important step under signals is configuration of rule. This is the heart of the signal. This is where the whole activity is getting configured and very, very important step to achieve success in this. So here there will be three components. The first component being what is the event. Event in our case originates from Zoho Books, which is our publisher. And once you choose that, it will list out all the events, in other words, the triggers which are available for Zoho Books. It could be bill created, bill updated, PO created, PO updated, invoice created, invoice updated, stuff like that. There are various predefined events are available. For our use case, bill update event will be relevant. Once you define the source, which is Zoho Books, and tell that once a bill is updated in Zoho Books, that is my source to trigger the signal. Next section is filter. Here we'll define the criteria which we should follow to pick those bills. It will give you two options. Do you want to run the function on all the events? It means all the bills which are approved inside Zoho Books should be considered for the next step. Or do you want to put a criteria and pick and choose only respect to bills which is required by us? So that second option is event matching certain conditions. This is the filter section wherein we can put our own conditions and pick and choose only those type of bills which we want us to take it to next step. So for our use case, we would like to check whether the status of the bill is open or not. The moment you approve a bill in Zoho Books, immediate status is open. So we are going to filter those bills which are updated having bill status open. So it will pick only those bills which satisfy this condition. Not only that, you can put more than one condition as well. It could be a combination of and or, both. Thereby, all the transactions satisfying one or multiple conditions what you put here will be executed. So for our use case, we'll put only one. So that is the second component of this rule. The third component, once a bill which is updated comes from Zoho Books and we ensure that the status of bill is open, what is that we need to do? That is what is target. Target means we need to run the Python script which we have written and update the final bill upload date back to Zoho Books. That is what is our target. So here there are multiple options we can configure, starting with giving a target name so that we will be able to trace back the logs with the help of target name. And we have three types of consumer types. It means either we can trigger a webhook once the previous steps are done, or we can trigger a function, or we can trigger a circuit. Right? For our use case, we will use functions. So once you choose the function, in the function dropdown, the functions which we wrote earlier, the Python script which we showed earlier, that function name we are picking it here. And the target input, it means once the signal comes from Zoho Books, once the bill is updated, Catalyst will receive the entire JSON response from the Zoho Books. So do we want to read the full data which is received as a JSON file, or you want to do an extraction, or you want to do a transformation? So original payload is so much, and I would like to follow a different template of a JSON, and I would like to transform my output the way I want it. Even that is also possible before it hits back. So for our use case, we'll take the complete data. In the dispatch policy means how this function should get delivered, or it should go back and respond to the target. So there are two options. One is instant and one is batch. Instant means as and when a single bill is approved and it is entered and it fulfills the given filter criteria, immediately run this function and go back and update the bill inside Zoho Books. That is the meaning of instant. And also when you choose the instant, it will also ask you if a set of data from Zoho Books comes as a bulk. In our use case, it is coming as a bulk itself. So do you want to process and transmit each event separately, like one by one, or not? If you tick this, it will pick the information in bulk from Zoho Books, but keep on responding to Zoho Books one by one. It will sequence it automatically. That is the meaning of send as single event. If you don't tick it, it will also try to update in bulk. In our use case, it will not be useful. Why? Because we are taking information bulk. If we hit back to Zoho Books in bulk, and if it is violating or if it is increasing the limit given by Zoho, again, this function will fail. So in our use case, it might not be, but the smaller use cases, yes, this will work. The response will be instant. And second type of dispatch policy is by batch. We have four type of batch, wherein batch by count. It means we can define a count of transaction. Upon becoming a batch of that many number of count of transaction, then only trigger the function. Meaning wait for 5 bills or 50 bills to come from Zoho Books to Catalyst and then run this. That is what is called batch by count. Next one is batch by size. Suppose you are dealing with some uh, flat file related transformations, wherein wait for the file size to attain X number of size limit, which could be in KBs or MBs, and then accumulate all those transactions and execute the function. That is second type of making the batch. Third one is by interval. It means once in every hour, once in every 4 hour, once in every 8 hour. If you define an interval, it will gather all the signals received by the publisher, and every interval which you have fixed, it will start running the function on top of that. The last one is batch by schedule. You can do a schedule wherein every day morning you need to run, or every Monday morning you need to run, every fortnight you need to run, or every first Monday you want to run. If your use case is like that, it will gather all the information from previous run and wait for the schedule what you configured and initiate this function on those transactions based on the schedule. So there are 4 types of batch making. So for our use case, we will take the counter, batch by counter, and for the simple use case, we'll keep the batch size as 3. And this is retry count, very similar to try catch method which we write in the functions. So it tried to run the function once again. If it fails, depending on how many retry counts you have given. This retry count can be automatic also or manually also. For our use case, we'll give a retry count with automatic mode and save it off. So this is very core, wherein we decided the publisher with the event, and we gave a filter what all the signals will qualify for our use case, and we wrote a function along with the batch size and the try catch count. So with this, our signal is completely configured in Catalyst. It is ready for production now. So we'll give a summary of what we did. Now let us see in action. So let us approve few bills and see how it is going to happen. So we'll go to Zoho Books and come back to bills section. Let us filter out those bills which came for approval and not yet approved. Let us filter them based on pending approval status. For our use case, let us take 3 bills as a batch. So bill number, test bill 1, 2, 3. So let us select them in bulk. This 3 can be up to 200 as well, because Zoho Books in one screen allow you to choose up to 200 bills in one go. For our use case, let us take 3. Once you multi-select that, Zoho will allow you to approve in bulk. Let us confirm the approval. Once the bills are approved, they will catch the status of open. So test bill number 1, 2, 3, the status got changed to open. It means the criteria which we configured in Zoho Catalyst is met in Zoho Books, and this event is triggered from Zoho Books via signals to Catalyst. Very important thing to note here is there are 2 interactions and 2 transfer of data flow is happening. One, once the trigger is satisfied, data is flowing from Zoho Books to Catalyst, and after processing it, the updated JSON is coming back from Catalyst to Zoho Books. The very positive part here is there will not be any API consumption happens either at Zoho Books side or at Catalyst side when the event is triggered from Zoho Books or any publisher via signals. No APIs are consumed there. That is the best part. Only API will be consumed when you send the response back to the source. It means you are saving API to one side. That is one positive point to note down here. Let us go to log section. This section will cover all complete log of all the events which have happened and when it got triggered, whether the status is in progress or successful, on what date signal received into Catalyst, from which service we received, every detail pin by pin you will be able to trace it back. It will help a lot in case of any failure or any type of conflicts or any type of bugs. You will be able to easily trace down to the logs and see what happened there. This particular log ID is the one wherein all the bills have come. If you see, we have all the details like from where the signals came, who was the publisher, what was the event. and what was the batch type, when it got triggered, how many attempts it took, and what is the status. Everything you'll be able to see it here. Since our dispatch type was batch by count and the count size was 3, so Zoho Catalyst waited, and once the 3, which is the limit of batch, got successfully matched, it triggered the function, and all 3 events along with the ID got executed. And every execution will have its own unique ID, and every batch also will have its own unique ID. In order to track how many of the bill we could successfully update the approved date and how many we could not update because of various reasons. So that log also we did by way of a simple table here. We captured back based on the API response received from Zoho Books. The first table is the success log, wherein every bill based on the status, whether what is the status, who was the approver in Zoho Books, when it got received, when it got modified, when it got approved, and what is the exact bill ID of the Zoho Books. If you see the bill ID column, that is nothing but the exact bill ID which is there in Zoho Books. If you want to trace back what happened to this bill, whether Catalyst run it or not, you will be able to easily filter here and see what happened for that particular call here. So it's a very detailed audit log it will give you with all the required details. So last 2 records are the one which got successful out of 3 bills which we approved. So that's why they are gone and sitting under success bucket with the status success. Now let us move to failure bucket. There also will get the similar logs wherein what is the row ID, what is the ID of that particular call, when it got modified, status, and a very important thing is along with the failure message which we received from Zoho Books. So this error message telling IGST cannot be applied as this is an intrastate transaction. Actually, the vendor was from Karnataka and the organization of Zoho Books having GST of Karnataka. Technically, we should have put GST. But by virtue of changing the place of supply of the vendor to some another state, the accountant tried to use IGST for that transaction. When Catalyst sends that function to update the bill in Zoho Books validation engine runs and it figured out that the vendor belongs to Karnataka and you are also from Karnataka. GST should have been used, but you are using IGST. That is the reason IGST cannot be applied as it is an interstate transaction. It means by seeing this log message by the finance team, they should go back, evaluate that and rectify it so that the entire cycle what we shown can be rerun once again. So this will give the clear-cut idea of what is happening in the background. So let us come back to Zoho Books and see the approved date custom field which we configured earlier got updated from Catalyst or not. If you observe the custom function, the approval date got updated here successfully. Now the last component of signals is the dashboard. It comes with this predefined, pre-built dashboard, which will clearly tells. We can clearly put the filters based on hours or days or any particular time range, date range, so that we'll be able to filter out and see how the signal entered into Catalyst and how it performed. How many received, how many got successfully executed, how many got failed. So what was that peak time when we received more signals, and what was the time at which more signal got failed. Every granular details can be analyzed from this charts, which is the dashboard section. Also, depending on the filter, it also shows us how many signals we received, in that how many successfully processed, failed, in progress. Unmatched means signal came but my filter did not get met, so it is unmatched. Unprocessed means it is yet to be processed. Dropped means so it didn't meet the criteria. So like that, publisher by publisher, you will be able to see the complete details of what is happening here out of the box. So this is use case 1 with the help of signals in Catalyst. We used to solve a problem which finance user used to face in Zoho Books. Well, let us move to second use case around Zoho expense. Here, the process of the organization was they were using Zoho Expense for their travel management. They were using typically the trips model of Zoho Expense to take to plan their itinerary, take the approval, send it to travel team, book the ticket, and travel. The typical Zoho Expense trips model. Here, they were having an external travel agency who used to book the ticket once the travel is approved by the reporting manager. And this travel agency used to issue a accumulated or a consolidated types of bill for all the bookings done by one employee for a period of 15 days together. And they were having around 150 to 200 employees, and you can imagine how many number of bills they used to get. Their practice was they will have multiple travel agencies. They would like to prepare a travel MIS by mapping all the trips which are approved and booked by travel agent, and correspondingly what all the bills given by respective travel agency. If you match one by one, it should have that reconciliation wherein and ensure that each trip, did I receive a bill or not, and every bill and every amount my travel agent charged me, do I have a corresponding approved trip or itinerary or not? That was the reconciliation point, to ensure that whether the bills are complete and they are neither underbilled or nor overbilled. So the problem statement, they want to capture the vendor wise bill details for each booking inside added ticket model of Zoho Expense, wherein the ticket is added. But Zoho Expense as on today will not support to add a custom field for every ticket we are adding it. That was one of the limitation as on today. So thereby they were unable to map the bills received from respective travel agent with corresponding trips while adding the ticket. Thereby, they used to take a lot of time, maybe 6 to 7 days, in reconciling all of these invoices with all of the tip and prepare the travel MIS and submit it to the management. They're having a tough time there. Though, and one thing is it was time consuming, other one, the accuracy was not up to the mark because it is being done manually in the spreadsheet. How we solve this problem using Catalyst? We just tweaked a small solution. We used a Catalyst signal, but the trigger point was a webhook which is built in Zoho Expense. The webhook used to trigger the moment a ticket is added in front of an approved itinerary in Zoho Expense. So once that happens, by way of the webhook, the data of the trip along with itinerary and employee and trip details, it used to go to Catalyst via signals, and we built a simple UI with the help of serverless and cloud scale components of Catalyst by Zoho, and we gave them a UI wherein they can, for every itinerary, enter vendor name, bill number, bill date, and the amount, and also is it booked by which travel agent, and upload a copy of the bill there. So we did extend the capacity of Zoho Expense with the help of this. And with the help of cron job, because we have a data from Zoho Expense, we have a vendor bill detail mapped to those trips from Catalyst. We blended both of the data, pushed into Zoho Analytics, and a complete travel MIS built in Analytics on a real-time basis. So this is how we solve the problem with the help of Catalyst. Let us see the outcome which the client or the organization got by virtue of this. The limitation of Zoho Expense we could successfully overcome, so that finance team can map for every itinerary, every ticket booked, a corresponding vendor bill, so that they could map the accounts payable for a travel expense point of view. And reconciliation time, which used to take days or hours, got brought down to a few minutes in the end of the month, and management got the best visibility on their travel spending, and they could take effective decisions based on that. So let us quickly see the use case. I'll not repeat the entire use case and how it was set up. We'll just use those important key points, which is different than what we did in Zoho Books. The first screen is the configuration of webhook inside Zoho Expense, which will get triggered the moment ticket is booked against a approved travel or trip itinerary. That will hit the Zoho Catalyst signals, and the transaction enters into Zoho Catalyst. Once it enters Zoho Catalyst, we did a simple UI wherein the key information which is required for that trip, which is coming from Zoho expenses, we populated here, such as the booking ID, trip number, trip name, what is the duration, how many itineraries are there, in this case, flight and hotel, and when is the check-in, when is the checkout, date, time, everything. And also we gave them an option to edit this and add vendor bill details. This is this update trip details wherein they could be able to update the vendor name and what is the bill which is received from the vendor and corresponding bill date, and what is the amount vendor charge. It includes the his commission as well, and it's a type of booking. Type of booking can be, did we use a credit card, is it booked by in-house team or is it mostly outsourced? That also we'll use to come to know. So what is the type of booking? Yeah, once they update it, the data which is coming from Zoho expense got married with the vendor details inside Catalyst. Now with the help of cron job, we used to push both of this information into Zoho Catalyst, and a travel dashboard was built in Zoho Analytics. This travel dashboard gives the total number of trips which are done for a particular period, how many employees were involved, what is the travel cost at an organization level, how many travel bills were there part of this as a report KPI card, plus a department-wise cost. A department-wise on a month-on-month basis, what is my travel cost? Travel agent-wise, month-on-month, what is my travel cost? Itinerary-wise, month-on-month, what is my travel cost? And also a granular analytics wherein employee by employee, trip by trip, itinerary by itinerary, what is my bill number and who is that travel agent and how much cost I incurred for that. A drill down basis, we could build a dashboard. It is at the organization level. Also, if you want to drill down basis on some of the filters, like I'll pick up a particular travel agent and I'll pick up his bills given between a particular date. Any combination of the filters which you are seeing above, we can place a filter, and the dashboard you'll be able to see basis on that, and this give the great power for the management team to analyze this and take any cost cutting measures in the future ones. So this is how we blended the Zoho expense, Catalyst by Zoho, and Zoho Analytics to solve this organization problem. So now, what are the other use cases under Zoho Finance ecosystem? We can leverage the power of Catalyst by Zoho and solve the problem of the business houses. With the help of Zoho Books, we can build a customized procure to pay application in Catalyst and make it interact with Zoho Books. Say for example, in Zoho Books, without the bill pay add-on or without adding a procurement add-on, the journey of procurement will start with onboarding a vendor without any approvals, plus purchase order, bill, GRN, and payment. So here, what if we would like to start with purchase request for quotation, sending the quotation request for vendors via portal, vendors submitting their quotations, and I am giving a rating for each quotation and finalizing one, that undergoing an approval workflow from various stakeholders, and then against that I raise a PO that will appear in the vendor portal, and also a copy of PO. Once it is created in Zoho Catalyst, we can push it back to Zoho Books for our records, and then vendor submitting the bill against the PO from the portal, we verifying it with the help of approval workflow and approving it again via API, that will going into Zoho Books, and then making the payment via Zoho Books. All these interaction, it can organization to organization, this whole process, the type of checks and balances, the type of sequencing of event they want to do will be different. The entire thing we can configure in Zoho Catalyst, and we can interact with the Zoho Books that can fit as a best use case for the finance users. And similarly, same thing can be achieved at a order to receive side as well, having a RFQ and having a estimate or a sale order and giving the invoices, portals, exchange of information, everything similar to what we saw in Procure to Pay. This type of custom application we can be able to build with a good UI and having a customer and vendor portal and the instant interaction with the Zoho Books. Once things happens here, you need not have to again replicate your accounting in Zoho Books. Automatically via APIs, we'll be able to push whatever is required from Zoho Books from bookkeeping point of view, anything operationally process driven, additional information and additional business processes which we want to achieve, which Zoho Books might support and might not support, can be effectively achieved here. Second set of use cases is a common problem which Zoho Finance partner will face. An entity which is situated in India, as per the company's Act requirement, the data center has to be in India. It might have a holding or a subsidiary company, say for example in USA. So their Zoho Books will be in US data center, and they're looking for a consolidated financial statement in Zoho Books or in Zoho Analytics, right? In Zoho Analytics, which we want to do, wherein the data centers are different. Again, you should leverage the APIs of Zoho Analytics. Sometimes, because of the API limitations, this thing might not be effectively used, or this entire consolidation might fail. So again, using the Catalyst by Zoho, it could be a cron job, it could be a signals. We can pull the data of Zoho Books from one DC and park it here. If you want to process it with the help of SQL, we can process them, summarize it, and make a very easily recognizable format and send it back via cron job. It could be every day morning or once in the morning, once in the afternoon, once in the evening. You can push it back to the Zoho Analytics of another data center, wherein the native data center Zoho Books is already getting synced in that Zoho Analytics. And from Catalyst, we are pushing from another data center data. So both the data center will get married there. And with the help of currency conversion, we will be able to achieve consolidated financials. Also any consolidated invoice related or vendor related, revenue related or customer related information in Zoho Analytics. That could be one of the use case. And Zoho Books and expense or inventory natively having widget or extension building capacity, but the memory can be little lesser, or the UI which you want to achieve with that might have some limitation, that you can host your entire widget and extension in Zoho Catalyst, and the installation of that can happen in Zoho Books. The user feels that they never left Zoho Books or any Zoho Finance application, but the entire heavy lifting is happening in Catalyst using various components of the Catalyst, so that you will be able to effectively run it sitting in Zoho Books, but the entire backend juice is happening in Zoho Catalyst. That can be one of the use case for the finance applications of Zoho. So this is all we had for you today. So this is the QR code wherein you will be able to get our contact details. If you want any solutioning from our side and for any of your use case inside Catalyst, we can discuss and deliberate on that. Thank you so much for your time.